Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier kicking off the late 50-cent pick four at Laurel on Saturday with race number 7, the James F. Lewis Stakes. It is for 2-year-olds, and you can play this race in this nice card at Laurel with several stakes races on tap with a new DRF Bets account. Sign up at bets.drf.com, receive a 300% deposit match. Here's the field for the James F. Lewis. Again, 2-year-olds traveling 6 furlongs, $100,000 is the purse. Matt, the morning line favorite is the number 4 Passcode for trainer Stephen Casey. This horse added blinkers 2 starts back, and voila, he's a perfect 2 for 2. He's shown good tactical speed in both of his starts, and he beat a couple of next out winners in that race last time out. Now, I know he was DQ'd 2 back, but he has looked good with blinks.
Yeah, certainly has, and you have to just kind of chalk it up to that. That's the way I'm looking at it, that the equipment changes made all the difference, because that career debut, he wasn't bad, but he just didn't really do anything that made me think that he was going to end up being anything. Now with the blinkers on, back-to-back times that he's crossed the wire first, he's looked good in both of those races. I'm going to be very interested to see from a trip standpoint where he ends up, because each of these 2 races, most recently, he has shown early speed, but the fractions haven't been all that fast, and Timeform US has him color-coded blue. It makes me think he's going to have to show a new dimension here if he's going to win on Saturday.
I think you make a very good point, and that's why I relegated him to my second choice in this race. I'm worried about the trip he's going to get. Timeform US's pace projector believes that this pace will be fast, and they don't have the number 4 Passcode among the top 3 horses in this race. Now, if he can sit successfully off the pace, this might work out very well from Passcode, but from what we've seen from his first 3 starts, he likes to be close, and maybe if he is close to a fast pace, it could set things up for others. Trainer Wesley Ward has entered 2 horses in this race. We'll begin with the number 2, Fayette Warrior, owned by Calumet Farm. This is a son of exchange rate trying dirt for the first time, but you know something? He's got some dirt pedigree. This dam's a half to Ermine, who won the Apple Blossom, and also to White Clover, who was a stakes winner going long on the dirt. Both of those horses by exchange rate, the sire of Fayette Warrior. And this horse was up close to a very fast pace on turf last time.
Yeah, and he faced a pretty good one, Uncle Benny. We saw what he did in the juvenile turf just last weekend. If you think he can handle the dirt, he's obviously a player in here. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens if he does go in here, which I feel like he will. The other Ward horse will find out. But Fayette Warrior, if you think they do throw it down early, you're right. He was close to a fast pace, but that was on turf. I think he's going to be more mid-pack in this situation here. And if he can take to the main track, then yeah, he's a little bit interesting at 8-1.
And this has been a Wesley Ward specialty over the years as we take a look at this formulator factor. Over the past 4 years with 2-year-olds moving from turf to dirt sprints off a 31 to 44 day layoff, 4 for 7, 5 on the board, and a $5.34 return on investment. Now the other Ward horse is actually a shorter price on the morning line, the number 3 Hawaiian Noises. When the overnight came out, Kent DeZormo was listed to ride Hawaiian Noises, and we were like, Kent's riding a Fleet Ascent at Del Mar on Sunday. Now we have no rider on Hawaiian Noises, who got a really nice setup, but looked good winning at Keeneland last time out, shooting up along the rail.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, to keep in mind, although it may have looked like things worked in his favor from a pace standpoint, Timeform US would suggest otherwise, where that internal fraction was color-coded blue. So the fact that this horse was able to overcome that and still go and get the job done, I think that's a positive. The 5th-place finisher next out earned a 75 buyer. The 3rd-place finisher a 63. This one fits in here quite well from a class and from a speed figure standpoint. The question ultimately is this horse going to run here or not?
Perhaps the number 8 Bustin' to Be Loved offers some value at the 6-1 morning line, shipping down from New York for the red-hot Gary Contessa. This horse chased a very fast pace, according to Timeform US, in the Bertram F. Bongard last time out for New York breds, and that's been a live race. The 4th-place finisher came back to win a state-bred stake race in New York with a 78 buyer speed figure. I like this outside post position for Bustin' to Be Loved. Maybe he stalks and pounces under Shelley Russell.
Yeah, look, I think the outside post, it could be one of 2 things. It could ultimately be the difference maker, where you look at it and say from a class standpoint, he's probably faced the best horses in this race, and he's going to appreciate a little bit softer company here. There's also a part of me that looks at it and says the only victory to date, gate-to-wire fashion, in that career debut, and although that outside draw you would think is going to set up a beautiful stalking trip, he really hasn't shown the ability to make up any sort of ground on any horses just yet. When he has been behind them, he doesn't go by them. He ends up going backwards I do think that he's going to appreciate the class relief, but at the same time, I would be lying if I said I was totally convinced that he'd be able to go on and get it done.
An interesting long shot is the 6, Sovereign Impact, 20-1 on the morning line for this son of Munnings. And I wonder if maybe that buyer speed figure for his most recent win at Indiana Grand's a little light, because the runner-up came back to win a 1X at Churchill Downs and improved his buyer all the way up to a 69. This horse can sit a little bit, and we have a positive formulator fact for this barn. Over the past 3 years, with last out winners on dirt, almost 30% winners and a positive return on investment.
He's been bet in all 3 of his main track starts, really. He's never been any higher than 5-2, and this is a horse, like you say, he's shown a little bit of tactical ability, and there's a real case to be made that that run in that N2L most recently at Indiana, that the fig is actually lighter than it should be. If you think it should be 10 to 15 points higher, he is certainly a major player at a big, big number.
Like Pasco, the number 1 Grand River really improved with the addition of blinkers. That came in his most recent start about 2 months ago. He showed big early speed, was pressed by the favorite from the outside, and just kept right on going. And that buyer speed figure of 74 would play very well in this spot if he doesn't get into a duel. And Jockey Gomez only has one way to go from the rail.
Yeah, that's the tough thing for me, to envision a scenario where this horse gets it done. Now, look, it's not because I think there's a lack of ability. Like you said, that most recent run would suggest the blinkers go on, the horse improves by leaps and bounds, and the runner-up came back and earned a 65 buyer in his next start. It's just from that inside draw, I think there's one way to go. And if you think that this horse has the ability to wire the field, you're looking at a nice score at 10-1. But I'm not totally convinced, dealing with winners for the first time, other intense heat early on. I don't know if I love the way it sets up.
We'll take a look at our top picks for the James F. Lewis Stakes. They both exit the same race, but with distinctly different trips in that Maryland Million Nursery on October the 20th. We'll begin with my top pick, the 7 Follow the Dog, one of 2 multiple race winners in this field. And this horse got a really nice trip that day with the addition of blinkers. He pressed a 35-1 shot, took over whenever he wanted, and then went on to win comfortably with a 73 buyer speed figure. Your horse, Scrap Copper, the beaten favorite in that race, went right to his nose at the start. I urge everybody to watch the head-on replay of that race, because that was a terrible start, and he actually ran a little bit in the stretch before tiring late. I think Scrap Copper, you just draw a line through that last race.
Yeah, the short comment, sometimes they're more indicative than others. This one stumbled badly at start. It was every bit as bad as that may sound. Like you say, right down to his nose. And I kind of feel like the other interesting thing for me anyway, you look at this horse with that Maryland Million Nursery, obviously draw a line through it, but he was making up ground in that Laurel Futurity on grass. Now, there's a part of me that wonders, perhaps that's actually what he's going to want to do. Is he going to be a grass horse when it's all said and done? But for the time being, I thought that career debut was fine enough. I think there's a scenario where he's actually a little bit faster than the speed figures would suggest. I don't know that you get 10-1. I'd be happy with 5 or 6-1. I don't know that I'd go too much lower than that. He has been bet in all 3 of his starts, but I think he's got a much better chance than perhaps the paper would suggest.
Third start of the form cycle for a very good trainer in Hamilton Smith. Give me numbers.
5-3-8-7.
I'm going to go with Follow the Dog, the 7, hoping he can rate and finish. It's something he hasn't done in the past, but he's so lightly raced. Perhaps this son of Bandbox can do it from just off the pace. 7-4-3-1 for me in the James F. Lewis III Stakes. Kicking off the late pick 4 at Laurel on Saturday. Bet it with a DRF Bets account and the 300% deposit match that goes along with it at bets.drf.com. An approximate post time for the James F. Lewis, 3 o'clock Eastern. Good luck.